Once again, welcome to Riverside Center for Spiritual Living. I am Jeffrey Kealoha, the Senior Minister and Spiritual Director here at Riverside Center for Spiritual Living, where we know that love lives here. And I am excited to be coming to you once again from my living room. You have given me a reason to put on like real pants today. I've been living in my jammy pants, as I'm sure most of you have. What was it, back in the 80s, the haircut was the mullet, where it's like business in the front and party in the back. I think 2020, it's going to be a fashion statement, like business on top, jammies on bottom. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to actually put on real pants this morning, so to be here with all of you. How good it is to be together. So Centers for Spiritual Living is this wonderful organization. I've got Paisley now. She's kind of sniffing around my pants here. Centers for Spiritual Living is this wonderful organization that we belong to. And I want to share with you what our purpose, our vision, and our mission are here at Centers for Spiritual Living. Because we frequently affirm, or we weekly affirm, our focus statement at Riverside Center for Spiritual Living, but I want you to understand and hear what the overarching, the overall ideas are for our organization of which we are a part. So our purpose at Centers for Spiritual Living is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. To awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. Our vision at Centers for Spiritual Living is we envision a world that works for everyone and all of creation. You've heard me say that frequently. We envision a world that works for everyone and all of creation. And our mission at Centers for Spiritual Living is to provide spiritual tools for personal and global transformation. To provide spiritual tools for personal and global transformation. So here at Riverside Center for Spiritual Living, the way that we incorporate and bring all of these three things together is we bring it together in our focus statement. So I invite you to say our focus statement together with all the V's, all the vim, vigor, velocity, vivaciousness, and voluptuousness you can muster this morning. Here we go. We embolden people to live their highest potential through the transformative power of love. Feels so good. So this year, we have been working with a theme, and we're continuing to work with the theme of 2020 Spiritual Vision. And this month, we are working with the theme of honoring the divine feminine within all. So we're working with honoring the divine feminine. And as we've been doing this series this month, I've had several of you come to me, digitally of course, come to me and share with me that this has been a really wonderful month of transformation or revelation for you, in that when we are looking at the divine from a feminine perspective, that it has managed to touch you in a different way, or you are now experiencing the divine in a different way, in a way that perhaps you hadn't experienced the divine before. Because the culture that we've been raised in, or that we've come up in, the culture itself is a very masculine-dominated culture with a very masculine idea of God in the Judeo-Christian tradition, in the Jewish and Christian traditions, right? That God has always been referred to as a man, as to he, as to him, right? And perhaps that this reference and this masculine perspective has been an unhealthy masculine perspective, that it has been a damaging masculine perspective, that it has not really represented the divine masculine or the sacred masculine in a really wonderful, loving, nurturing way. And perhaps that's not your experience. But I know that that's experience for a lot of folks, right? And that's part of the reason why relating to the divine from the feminine, the divine feminine, has felt so new and so fresh and so loving and so warm and so tender and so nurturing Because we've kind of had this other idea of what God or what the divine is just by the culture that we have been socialized to, right? And how wonderful it is to now experience this divine and yet this other way, right? To have this revelation, to have this experience, almost more of a felt experience of the divine through the feminine. But what we know, too, is that the divine is neither masculine nor feminine, but that actually the divine is non-binary. The divine is on a spectrum, if you will. If you wanted to give the divine gender, right? The divine gender would be on a spectrum because it's all inclusive, because the divine is all that there is. And it is us, it is we, it is society, it is culture who has decided to label it male or female, right? Assigned labels to it, assigned masculine or feminine. But what we know really is that masculine energy and feminine energy are just energies on a broad spectrum. And not only does this apply to the divine, but this also applies to human beings, right? We have folks that identify as male or masculine. We have folks who identify as female or feminine. And we have folks that identify somewhere in between, gender fluid, non-binary. So when we use pronouns, we want to think of them as being inclusive of all. So if we have individuals and we have beloveds in the community who prefer to use, not even prefer, it's not a preference, who use non-binary pronouns or who use gender-neutral pronouns, we have the opportunity to honor them, because if we're creating a world that works for all and all of creation, then it is our responsibility to honor that. So one way of honoring that is to use the pronouns that people share with you to use. Perhaps it is he, him, his. Perhaps it is she, her, hers. Perhaps it is they, their, theirs. But we live on this beautiful spectrum of gender expression, of gender identity. So I just wanted to share that with you a little bit this morning as we continue our exploration, because all is one, all are included in this one, all are the divine made manifest. Each one of us is the divine made manifest. And the divine himself, herself, themself, itself, has an all-encompassing, is all-inclusive, and really has no specific gender of its own, of their own. Isn't that wonderful? So in this time, we have now been in this time of being physically distancing for about 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. And we've really been in this stay-at-home order from Governor Newsom, since the 19th of March. So we've been in this place for about 10 days now, really being at home and sheltering. Folks like to say sheltering in place. I much prefer sheltering in grace, or sheltering in faith. Because what we have the opportunity to do here is we have the opportunity to really become quiet and become still, and to let go of the busyness and the activity of our lives prior to this moment. And if we were to look at these from masculine and feminine energies as our culture views them, then I think it's really interesting that we are here in this month of March talking about the divine feminine, and we're really moving from that very yang energy, that more frenetic energy, that busyness energy of the masculine, and we've had the opportunity to shift and move into the very yin energy, the receptive energy, the quiet energy, the creative energy of the divine feminine. And so here we are at home. I'm coming to you from our living room. I'm sure you're sitting in your living room or your dining room, perhaps you're on your patio. But I trust that you're home and safe and watching us and joining us in spiritual community. So we have the opportunity now, we've been given this gift to slow down, to take a moment, to take a collective breath, and to turn within and to begin focusing or shifting our focus to reevaluate, to reassess, to remember what it is that is really, truly important to us. What are our real priorities? And so in the chat box right now, what I'd love for you to do is I'd love for you to share with us what your priorities are right now, what your values are right now. Go ahead and pop those into the chat box and let's see what your values are, what your priorities are in this moment. I know, for example, for me, my priority and what I'm really valuing and enjoying is being able to spend time with Ed. Ed he was able to work from home the past couple of days, and so he has been here in Riverside, and now he does not have to go back to Las Vegas and travel back and forth. He's now here at home. So I'm really valuing our time together. I'm really making that a priority of connecting with him and being fully present to us. So what are you valuing? What are your priorities? Let's hear him.
So Susie says to listen deeply to myself and to Earth. Vicky is health and wholeness. Neil, compassion for myself and others. Sarah, family, friends, state of peace of mind. Shawnee, enjoying my family and getting much needed exercise. Marty, becoming grounded and in touch with my spiritual growth. Dinah, spending time with each other. Shawnee again, reading and meditating. Frank, enjoying the time at home with the wife and dogs. Roxanne, peace, love, connection, freedom, quietude. Judy, shifting work focus, moving forward. Naima, health and empathy. Chaz, meditation and reading. Allison, deepening spiritual practices, walking in nature. Jeffrey, practicing gratitude.
Beautiful.
Being still with self, and Frank from iPhone X. I'm not sure who you are, but let's see. Jubel, to be more patient with my family and be more organized at home. Doing something for a stranger for no reason but to give. Also an iPhone, peace and wellness for all. Tomorrow, Chester says yard work. Casey and Wayne, being open to the blessings that this time can bring. Darlena, my priority is going deeper into myself and spirit, being able to hear clearer what my role is, compassion and connection. And Earl, enjoying the beauty of our home, enjoying time with my wife. Anita and Frank, being still together.
Beautiful. How beautiful, right? That these are the priorities. You know, not that they haven't been priorities before, but they've really moved to the forefront. Would you agree? They've really moved to the forefront. And so what I'm hearing in what you've shared so far is I'm hearing a lot of connection. I'm hearing a lot of cooperation. I'm hearing a lot of collaboration. I'm hearing a lot of being still and going into spiritual practice and really connecting and communing with the divine, with your higher self, as well as connecting and communing with your family and with friends online via Zoom or other ways of connection. That this time that we are being innovative and we're being creative so that we can remain connected with one another. We are being innovative and creative to find solutions or to be open to solutions and to new ideas. We are being innovative and creative in even producing art and music. And how wonderful it is to see online all these artists and museums and musicians sharing their talent, sharing their art, sharing their joy with us while we're all here at home. If you've never been to the Louvre, you can go now, right? You can go online. If you've never heard the New York Philharmonic, you can go and you can listen online. You can see recordings of them online. All these wonderful choirs getting together and creating music online together, these choral performances. It's amazing to see the creativity and the innovation. And what is also beautiful to see is the generosity, right? The generosity of people and how they are sharing their innovative ideas, how they're sharing their creativity with each other, how we are doing that together in community, in collaboration, in cooperation. I know that Centers for Spiritual Living and the ministers at Centers for Spiritual Living and my colleagues here in Riverside on the mainline, from the mainline Protestant denominations that I meet with regularly, we are all sharing ideas, we are all sharing information, we are all helping each other up-level our game at this time. We are all helping to support one another, and I know that we're doing that here too. And how wonderful it is, the generosity and the love that's being expressed. And I know too that we are all grateful for it. That there is this gratitude, this deep sense of gratitude and peace and joy and just the sense of love that is being shared at this time. And how grateful we all are for that. So as Reverend Sonia mentioned earlier, Reverend Sonia Byrne mentioned earlier this week on a Zoom call, that when we are faced with a crisis, we're actually faced with an opportunity. We're faced with an opportunity to innovate. We're faced with an opportunity to create. And from that innovation and that creation, generosity springs forth because there is a deep wanting to share with one another because of our common love for one another, because we recognize that our neighbor is us, that we are who we are, that we are only one, that there is only one life. So if I have created something or I have innovated something, then it is a natural extension to want to be generous and share it with one another and to share it with all. And then the cycle continues into gratitude, right? Somebody shares with me and I share with them. There is this exchange, there is this flow, there's this flow of ideas, there's this flow of creativity, and we're generous with one another and we're grateful to one another. And expressing gratitude for life, expressing gratitude for love, right? And so here you see like ideas of the divine masculine through innovation and creativity, and the divine feminine through generosity, and then the non-binary of gratitude. In these three things we see a broad spectrum of the divine making itself known, making itself manifest through each one of us. Just because I inhabit a male form doesn't mean that the divine feminine doesn't live within me. Just because you might inhabit a female form doesn't mean that the sacred masculine doesn't live within you. Just because we inhabit body doesn't mean that the non-binary doesn't live within each one of us. For truly, we are all one life. We are individualized expressions of that one life. And how good it is to be together in community. How good it is to be able to support one another and to love one another in this way. In these new, creative, innovative, generous, grateful ways. And I also know that at this time, 10 days into being at home, and about 2 weeks into really having life transformed, especially for us here in California and elsewhere, but speaking particularly to our community here, I know that it can be lonely. I know that it can be lonely. And I also understand that some of you may be experiencing different levels of grief, and grief for different reasons. Mourning the past, mourning what was, mourning life before, grieving for the current situation, grieving for our siblings, our brothers, our sisters, our neighbors, grieving for one another, grieving for our world. And there may be some too who are mourning the loss of what could have been, what might have been, had life continued on as it was. On our path, on our trajectory. Because I know that when we got together at the beginning of the year and we did our white stone ceremony and you had the opportunity to write down that word that you were claiming, right? That word to guide you through this year, I invite you to go back to that word. But what I know is that when we wrote that down at the end of December, beginning of January, I know that the high idea did not include sitting at home watching Netflix and watching The Tiger King. I know that that's not what you wrote down on your white stone, right? You didn't write Tiger King down on your white stone. Right? So I invite you to go back to your stone. What did you write down on your stone? What did you write on your stone? Remember that. Bring yourself back to your stone. Go get it. Bring it, hold it in your hand, put it in your pocket, have it someplace around your house where you can see it on a regular basis. And anchor back into that. That is the stone. That is the word that you have spoken for your life this year. What is that? And I invite you to sit with that and contemplate that. And anchor back into that when you're feeling lost, when you're feeling lonely, when you're feeling scared, when you're in touch with your grief. Anchor back into that. There's something else I'd like to share with you this morning. Reverend Dr. Edward Viljoen, on a worldwide call of prayer, or global call of prayer on Friday, shared this essay with folks, or with the people on the call. And it comes from Living the Science of Mind, and it comes from page 124. And in the spirit of the divine feminine that we're honoring this month, I'm going to read this. Ernest Holmes wrote in the masculine gender at the time when he was writing. But in the divine, I'm going to read this in the divine feminine. And so I invite you to hear these words, take them in, breathe them in, and just listen to what Dr. Holmes has to say, and see how it resonates within your body, hearing the divine feminine. You have a friend within you who is closer than your shadow. This friend anticipates your every desire, knows your every need, and governs your every act. This friend is the goddess within your soul, the animating presence projecting your personality, which is a unique individualization of the living spirit. This friend within you is infinite, since she is a personification of goddess. She is not limited by previous experiences which you may have had, by present conditions, or passing situations. She has no inherited tendencies of evil, lack, or limitation. She has never been caught in the mesh of circumstance. She is at all times radiant, free, and happy. To your intellect, this invisible friend may seem to be someone else, not your real self, but such is not the case. Some have believed that this friend within you is a mediator between you and creative spirit. Others have believed her to be the reincarnation or the rebirth of your previous self, while still others have sincerely believed her to be some discarnate soul. But you are not to accept such beliefs. For the real person within you is a direct personification of the universal spirit. She is your inner, absolute, and perfect self. The friend within you is different from all other persons, yet she is united with all. There is some part of you which reaches into the nature of others, irresistibly drawing them to you and drawing you to them, binding all together in one complete unity. Right now, you are one with all persons, all places, all events. This friend within you lives in a state of poise. She is above fear. She is beyond hurt. She is sufficient unto herself. The friend within you, continuously looking after your well-being. She always wishes you to be happy, to be well, to be radiant. Being the very fountain of your life, this friend is luminous, a luminous presence, evermore emerging from your pure spirit, evermore expanding your consciousness. She is the high counselor and the eternal guide. She is your intellect, the essence of its understanding, the nicety of its calculation, and the appreciation of its temperament. There can be no greater unity than exists between you and this inner friend. She spreads a table before you in the wilderness of human thought. Her cup of joy runneth over. She laughs at disaster, triumphs over human failure, and mocks the grave. When this present experience shall be rolled up like a scroll, she will pass on to a new and greater experience. But today, she is here. Trust her today. And you may trust her for all the tomorrows yet to come. Thus your tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow will be but an expansion of your endless today. Your personality is an outpicturing of the impressions which you have received from this inner friend, this deep personality, this radiant and divine presence whose life is light, whose consciousness is peace, and whose presence is power. You are an incarnation of this person, this presence, and this power. It may be difficult for you to believe that there is such a friend, but she is there at the very center of your being, directing your thought, and causing you to triumph over every defeat, for she is an unconquerable hero. She who keeps silent watch within you lifts your consciousness to the realization that you are forever protected, forever safe, and forever perfect. So I reiterate that you are not alone. The divine is within you. He, she, they never leave you. There's no place where you could be that the divine is not. And I also want you to know that our community is here for you as well. We invite you to stay connected with us. The easiest way to stay connected, one of the easiest ways to stay connected, is through our website. On our website, we have all kinds of resources and information for you. If you just click on the additional resources information, you will find wonderful links that will take you to creative expressions, such as the coloring pages. Download those coloring pages, please. Download those coloring pages there that you see. Color them, and then populate our Facebook page with them. Show us your creativity through your coloring. Populate our Facebook page with those. I'd love to see what it is that you're drawing. Riverside Centers for Spiritual Living is also producing a series of fabulous concerts on Facebook Live. Last night was Gary Lynn Floyd. Tonight is Karen Drucker. That happens at 6 o'clock this evening. You can go on our Facebook page and you can find the link there to link you over to Karen's page so that you can watch and enjoy a fabulous concert. We are having concerts Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights at 6 p.m. our time, 6 p.m. Pacific time. All the way through the month of April. We have fabulous New Thought musicians that are sharing their love and sharing their creativity and sharing their talent to lift our spirits during this time. We have prayer available for you. Go to our Facebook page, go to our website. Our prayer practitioners are available for prayer. Click on their name and you can share a prayer with them. You can also go to our website and you can hear a beautiful meditation that I recorded the other day. You can also receive 24-hour prayer through the World Ministry of Prayer. There are all kinds of ways of staying connected. And I want to make sure that you are aware that we are doing every Monday through Saturday morning at 9 a.m. We have prayer and meditation available for you on Zoom. And all you have to do, it's really simple, just go to the website, click on the link. It's there, and all you got to do is at 9 o'clock, just click on that link and you'll be taken to the Zoom room to participate in meditation and prayer. I'm doing tomorrow mornings, Monday morning at 9 a.m. So we invite you to please, please, please stay connected. Please stay with us. Please stay in community and be in community with one another. After we close here today, we're going to leave the Zoom open for about 15 or 20 minutes if you want to hang out and chat for a little munch and mingle socially here on Zoom. A little time for socializing with one another, of connecting with one another in spiritual community in a more casual way. So again, I invite you in this time, in this space, in this place, in this moment, to breathe in, anchor to that stone, anchor to your priorities and your values that you've expressed so beautifully here this morning. I know that we are in a very innovative, creative time. We're in a very generous time. And for that, I am truly grateful. And I'm truly grateful for you, Riverside Center for Spiritual Living, our beloved community. And I know together we rise. So let's come together in consciousness now, shall we? I recognize that there's only one power, one presence, one life, one infinite, eternal being, this one I choose in this moment to call Goddess, to call God, to call the divine. It is love. It is the love intelligence that is back of all of creation, that through itself, of itself, as itself, brought forth through unformed substance into form all of life, all of creation. Therefore, I know that creation is the body of the divine, and that all of creation was made in the image and likeness of the divine. So I know that all of creation itself, only having one substance from which it could have been made, the divine, is the divine made manifest. I know that who I am is the divine in expression. I know that who each one is the divine in perfect expression. Regardless of how I label or how we label, regardless of pronoun, regardless of any individualized feature or expression, we are all beautiful expressions of this one life, this one love, this one infinite eternal power and presence. And so I know that all that is happening right now is in divine right order and divine right action. I know that this is a time of turning within, of going within, of communing with the divine, of communing with one another, of being creative and innovative in how we express our love with one another and how we express our love out into the world. I know that this one life is whole, perfect, and complete unto itself, that nothing need be added, nothing ever need to be changed. It is the changeless change that is at the heart and soul, that is at the very center of all of creation, of all of life itself. And so I know that this one life, this wholeness, this perfection is the life of everyone. I know that those who are experiencing dis-ease in their physical temple, their physical body temple, I know that for those folks, the one life is right at the center of who they are, expressing perfectly, wholly, and completely now. I know that this is the truth, so I know that the body temple responds to that truth, responds to the love that is present right within each one. And I know that this love is transformative. I know that this love is a healing power and a healing force, for it is the only healing power and force in all of creation. And I give thanks for all of the caregivers. I give thanks for all of the individuals who continue to work, who continue to help our society grow and move forward. I give thanks for the doctors, the nurses, the first responders. I give thanks for those on the front lines of the grocery stores, of the restaurants, of the agricultural fields, of the supply chain, of the drivers, of the trucks, of the distribution centers. I give thanks for all of it because I know that right where they are, the power and the presence of God is. So I know that they are divinely guided, they are divinely guarded, they are being maintained and sustained by the one life that breathes life through and as all of them. Through and as all of us. And I am grateful for these beloveds who have said yes to the call upon their lives, that continue to show up, that continue to do the work set before them, trusting and knowing that it is God within them that performs the work. And I know that all are safe. I give thanks now for this realization. I give thanks now for this time together. I give thanks now for this holy spiritual communion and community. I trust and know that we go deeper, that we grow deeper. And I release this word into the activity of law, knowing that it is already done, it is already made manifest, it is already so. And together we affirm, and so it is.